Hello and welcome to History Club for December. This month we're going to talk about winter holidays around the world. And we're going to start off with one that starts towards the beginning of winter when fall is just starting to end, and it's called Diwali. So Diwali is a festival of lights celebrated by many different religions, including Hindus, Jains, and Sikhs, and it is celebrated in the country of India. Diwali lasts 2 to 5 days during the month of Kartika, which is either in late October or in November according to our calendar. You can see that here that it is celebrated with clay pots, food, hospitality, and flower decorations. So Diwali goes back a long way, and we don't know the exact origins. We know that in the Hindu religion, it often honors the goddess Lakshmi, who is the goddess of wealth. And so it's a very important holiday to shop owners and merchants. It's considered a time of prosperity. Although in some regions it is in honor of the goddess Kali, who is the goddess of destruction. And it is also said to be the time when the hero Rama and his wife Sita returned to a holy city in an ancient Hindu text called the Ramayana. To Sikhs, it often honors a guru who was set free by the Great Mogul back in the 1600s. Next, we'll learn about Hanukkah. Hanukkah is a Jewish holiday celebration that honors Judas Maccabeus. His story is recorded in the book of Maccabees, which is found in biblical apocrypha. So he led a revolt by the Jews against the Seleucids. So the Seleucids were people who controlled Syria and ancient Israel. They were descended from one of Alexander the Great's generals, because remember, Alexander the Great came from Greece and conquered the Middle East back in the 300s. So the Seleucid king Antiochus IV had banned the Jewish religion, had desecrated the Hebrew temple, and so Jews were rebelling against him. One of their leaders was Matthias, who was a rabbi. His son Judas Maccabeus took up the cause, and the Jews eventually won their battles and won this rebellion called the Maccabean Rebellion and rededicated their temple. Now, when they rededicated the temple, they only had enough oil for 1 day, but that oil actually lasted them for 8 days, which they considered a great miracle. So at Hanukkah, they light a menorah, which is a candle holder that has 8 candles, plus a helper candle used to light the others. They also celebrate by giving gifts and by giving to the needy. Other parts of the celebration include the dreidel, which is a small spinning top usually made from wood or clay. This tradition was popularized in Germany but may have come from Ireland. And it's a game that's played, and usually part of that is the gelt or gold coins. Sometimes they're not real gold coins. Sometimes they're chocolate coins with the gold cover. You might see those kinds of coins at the candy store. And also, some popular foods at Hanukkah time include latkes, which are potato pancakes, usually eaten with sour cream or applesauce, and also jelly-filled donuts. All right, so the next winter holiday we're going to talk about is Yule. Now, some people use the word Yule as another word for Christmas, but it actually relates back to a more ancient holiday than that, one that predates Christmas, and it is usually celebrated in accordance with the winter solstice, although some historians speculate that it may have started out even earlier in the year than that as some sort of a November harvest festival that got moved later into the year to correspond with the winter solstice. So the word Yule comes from the language of a people who lived in Germany in ancient times called the Goths, and it means wheel. So it refers to the wheel of the sun, how the sun moves in cycles, and that's where solstices come from. And a lot of Christmas traditions actually started with Yule before Christianity and the celebration of Christmas had moved into Northern European countries. And it's worth mentioning that although many of these traditions are now incorporated into Christmas tradition, there are some people who still celebrate Yule today. So, for example, the Yule log, you might say there's a Yule log on the fire. That started with a tradition of bringing a big log, sometimes as big as a full tree, into the house to burn a little bit at a time through this winter celebration. Another tradition that may have come from Yule is decorating a tree. That probably started with Yule, as did the association with holly and mistletoe. In fact, in Norse mythology, an arrow made from mistletoe killed the god Balder. But the Norse god that these ancient peoples would have most commonly associated Yule with was Odin. Odin was the king of the Norse gods, and he was the god of wisdom. And some think that there may have been a tradition of gift giving, and that Odin may have been said to have brought presents to those who were good. Does that remind you of anyone? All right, now let's cover Boxing Day. The next holiday we're going to talk about is Boxing Day.
Ho, ho, ho!
Santa, what a surprise! Our special guests usually knock on the door.
I came down the chimney.
Santa, the library doesn't have a chimney, so that's not possible.
Anything is possible with a little Christmas magic.
Okay, well, I was just telling everyone about Boxing Day.
Oh, Boxing Day? I love Boxing Day.
I thought you loved Christmas.
Don't get me wrong. There's nothing better than spreading joy to children around the world. But making so many toys and delivering them in one night is exhausting. Santa needs a break sometimes, too.
Yes, come to think of it, we have a picture of you right here on Boxing Day.
Yes, every December 26th, I gather all the elves into the sleigh, and I tell the reindeer to fly us straight to a tropical beach resort.
That sounds great, but do you know why they call it Boxing Day?
Nobody knows exactly, but it may have something to do with one of two traditions in medieval Britain. The first has to do with servants. Since servants had to work on Christmas, preparing and serving the feast, they will get the day off after Christmas to celebrate with their families. Also, the lords and ladies would often box up small gifts for their servants as a sort of Christmas bonus.
What about the other tradition?
That has to do with the needy. Since churches would get generous donations on Christmas Day, the next day they would open their donation boxes and give to those less fortunate.
Even today, Boxing Day is celebrated by giving to those who perform services and to charities. You know, it seems like Boxing Day reminds us that generosity isn't just for Christmas, and giving special gifts isn't just your responsibility.
That's right, Jordan. The spirit of generosity can live in all of our hearts year-round. Well, I've got to go. Ho, ho, ho!
Santa, wait a minute. with all this talk about Boxing Day and special boxes, it reminds me of something.
Oh, a present for me?
No, actually, this box is for NC Cardinal. Could you leave it on the cart next to my desk on your way out?
Ho, 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 no problem. Merry Christmas.
Goodbye, Santa. Merry Christmas. What a great guy. Well, now it's time to talk about Kwanzaa. And unlike a lot of the other holidays we've talked about, Kwanzaa doesn't have an ancient origin. It began in 1966, and the man who began it, Maulana Karinga, is still alive today. So he wanted a holiday that was non-religious for African American people to learn more about Africa and its traditions and to connect with those traditions. So Kwanzaa uses 7 principles and 7 symbols. Principles include things like unity, self-determination, creativity, and faith. The symbols are the corn, the gifts, the chalice or cup, the mat on which everything is arranged, the kinara or candle holder, the candles themselves, which are always 3 red, 3 green, and 1 black, and the fruits. In fact, the name Kwanzaa is from the Swahili language, and it comes from a phrase meaning first fruits. And Kwanzaa is usually celebrated with gift giving, as I said, and usually the gifts are homemade. That's what's encouraged because it seeks to be non-commercial, and it's celebrated with performance arts, which are highly encouraged. Things like music, dancing, that's all encouraged, and we can see them performing here. And so that's Kwanzaa. Here are our citations. And remember, we have many different holidays around the world. These are only a few. And if you'd like to learn any more, come in and visit the library and check out some of our books. We even have some trees set up showing some different holidays and some books about them. That's all for this time. Goodbye, everyone. See you next time.